Hello, everyone. My name is Tristan Paulet, Vice President of Development at Hate is a Virus. On behalf of our teams at Hate is a Virus, Act to Change, and Stop AAPI Hate, we welcome you all to the Changemakers Summit 2022. This will be a quick tutorial to help you navigate our virtual conference on Zoom events. To navigate our platform, please use the dashboard on the top of your screen. First is the lobby, where you will find our major announcements and a live stream of our main stage. Next is our Sessions tab, where we will be spending most of our time together. Here you will find our main stage, keynote speakers, performances, and breakout sessions. You can also bookmark these sessions, and your bookmark sessions will appear in the itinerary tab. If you would like to get more information on our major sponsors that help make this event possible, please visit our sponsorship tab and our expo. Finally, if you're interested in learning more about any of our presenters, please see our speakers tab. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a note in the main lobby chat and someone from our team will help you shortly. Thank you again for attending Changemakers 2022 and have a great summit.
Hi everyone, welcome to Changemakers Youth Summit 2022. I'm Christine Zhuang, I'm the Director of Community Education and Outreach with Hate is a Virus. And I'm so excited to be here with all of you in our second annual Changemakers, hosted in partnership with three amazing community organizations, Act to Change, Hate is a Virus, and Stop AAPI Hate. Today's summit is all about supporting, connecting, and developing the next generation of youth leaders. And our theme is Intergenerational and Intersectional Activism, where we're taking wisdom and inspiration from those who have paved the way for us, as well as owning our power to create change in any space that we're in, knowing that our activism must be rooted in solidarity and justice for all. Now, in the spirit of solidarity, we want to honor the brave youth activists in Iran who are really showing the world what it looks like to stand up against injustice, and to those who are leading one of history's largest women's rights and liberation movements amidst government brutality and global silencing. As young women across Iran are burning their hijabs and showing their hair in protest after the death of Mahsa Amini by morality police, we remember those who have lost their lives and those who continue to fight tirelessly for freedom in Iran. We ask and encourage everyone to continue to amplify the voices, the messages, and the resilience of those who are fighting tirelessly and dying for a better future. And one of the ways that you can do that is by sharing and following the hashtags below so that you can stay informed and engaged. Now, throughout our day at Changemakers, we'll be doing programming both here on our main stage where we're together now, as well as across breakout sessions hosted by some incredible community organizations and individuals. And we'll be doing that across three different tracks. The first is Who Are We?, where we'll explore the nuanced identities that we hold. The second is What Impacts Us, where we will talk about different issues across our diverse AAPI communities. And lastly is How Can We Create Change, where we'll share practical and tangible tools for us to truly create the change that we want to see.
Hello, my name is Brandon Gigante. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I am honored to present my poetry for Hate is a Virus's inaugural Changemakers Summit for 2022. My poem is titled, Where Do You Find Pride? is a question that has never left my mind. I used to think that would come from the soil that my family was born from. That if I swallowed the same earth that spit the first of my name out, that if I tasted the sunrise that would roll over Salcedo, Eastern Samar, I should know why I should be proud to be Filipino. But I've still yet to do this, to set foot where my people first did. In fact, when I've learned more about our history, something I've come to know is that we've always known struggle. Spit onto foreign soil by colonialism, met with racism, swept away by capitalism, our elders have swallowed and endured every ism there is until they could build the walls of their homes with isms. Escaping the bowels of a beast that spans lifetimes isn't foreign to generations born even now. COVID-charged crimes of Asian hatred, the new Bataan 5. Many comment on the resilience of our people despite desolation, but I do not believe that my pride should come from the ability of my people to survive through tragedy. It's from here that I've learned that there's such beauty in the way we speak. Makibaka huwag matakot. Thoughtfulness and intention in the way we write. Community in the way we love. I've learned that there is so much more outside of our struggle. There is hope. And it's here with our community where I find my pride. One of my fourth-year friends told me that whenever I feel lost, to look to my roots. And this is important because I'm proud to say that they sprout from so many of those that I've met in my college community. Because our ancestors, our elders, all of us here now did not just make it here through perseverance. We are always gathered together during every isang baksak. With each step we take forward, our arms are always linked. We've always created spaces to love, to grow within, to grieve. A space to declare that, yes, I am here, and these are the people who hold the keys to all of the doors within my home, who help me stoke the fire when I believe myself unfinished. I have found pride in you. And it's taught me that I don't need to know everything about myself, to know that I have pride in my identity, in my community, to know that I belong. Thank you.
Kamusta? Welcome to the Changemakers Summit 2022. I'm Rachel Lako.
And I'm Jackie Fernandez, aka Jackie Fern, and we are both so excited to be your hosts for this year's Changemakers Summit. Honestly, we are so delighted that each and every one of you is joining us from Zoom because this shows that you have a courageous spirit and also a curious mind where you get to dialogue and really meet other changemakers like yourself and Rachel. I know you went to the summit last year, so this is so thrilling that it is year 2 for this.
Yes, last year I was invited to be one of the keynote speakers, so thank you, Haters of Ours, for inviting me, and now I am back hosting with the lovely Jackie. Yeah. This is your first time here.
This is my first time, and we are so grateful to the Haters of Iris team because they asked both of us to do it, and it means so much because not only are we friends, but also it's Filipino-American History Month. So if you are Filipino, just comment in the chat right now.
Hashtag Pinoy Joy. That is our theme, I think, for this month, this year.
And that is so great because everything that both Rachel and I do and all the speakers that you're going to hear from today have a little bit of an activist spirit in the work that they do. So we are both multi-hyphenates, actors, writers, content creators, and I also have a little bit of a reporting background. So activism is something that is so important to my core, and taking ethnic studies in college really informed every creative decision and career choice that I made moving forward. So to be here with you, who I consider the next generation, is honestly really thrilling.
So exciting. I totally agree too. I am an award-winning multi-hyphenate filmmaker, actress, and activist, and huge mental health advocate. So it's super exciting to be here in this safe space that we're creating.
Yes.
and just joining in community and celebrating our communities together.
Absolutely. And speaking of amazing Pinoys, let's give it up one more time to Brandon Gigante for that amazing performance that we just witnessed. And now it is time for our keynote speakers. And this year we have lined up some amazing leaders in our community who are absolutely chef's kiss. And one of them happens to be someone who turned a racist rant that was hurled at her into a global phenomenon. This is award-winning TV personality and journalist Michelle Lee. She actually went on air around New Year's time and said on New Year's that one of her family traditions is that they eat dumplings. And a white viewer left a voicemail on her answering machine and said she was very offended by that. She found it to be a little very Asian. And Michelle took that rant, posted it online, and galvanized an entire community behind this kind of terrible vitriol that is often thrown at us and that we also really just suppress and take in ourselves, right? Most people would hear something like that and shrink into themselves, but not Michelle. She co-founded the Very Asian Foundation and is doing the work to really lift up these kind of experiences that happen to us and show it's not okay. Michelle is also a Korean adoptee who has appeared on CNN, NBC, CBS, and ABC. She's won multiple Emmys, Murrow Awards, and even a Peabody. You can follow her at Michelle Lee TV. Now give it up for Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Lee, and I am a journalist and the co-founder of the Very Asian Foundation. I'm here today to share a few stories about my own work as a way to ground this incredible conference ahead of you today. And I want to start by sharing about my own journey towards activism and standing up for change. During my career, it was really apparent that looking Asian played a pretty big role in my career. While the Asian American community was excited to see another Asian face on TV or on the web, my hiring managers made assumptions about my abilities or my relatability based on my name, my look, and what they thought an Asian American journalist brought to the community at large. So it hasn't always been easy. But I have always felt energized and inspired by being in a role like this because throughout my career, from living on the East Coast to the West Coast, I've never been in the majority. And if I can show people that, yes, Asian Americans exist in every city, every town, every nook and cranny of America, and that Asian American stories are American stories, that our history deserves to be taught and told. And if I can help more Asian American youth see themselves by representing in this way, then I'm here for it. You know, local broadcast is still the #1 way people get their information. And if Asian American stories are not told on our local news, you might grow up thinking that your story isn't important enough, or that your non-Asian peers could grow up with little to no exposure to Asian American culture, or even disparities. People cannot be a part of celebrations or solving problems if they don't even know they exist. You know, we put a lot of emphasis on national news coverage, but you need to be able to see yourself every day in your schools and in your communities. The Very Asian Foundation began in January 2022 after a viewer called complaining about something I said during New Year's Day. I said that I ate dumplings when we shared a story about what Americans eat on a holiday. And she said I was being very Asian and I needed to keep my Korean to myself. Well, I shared that voicemail online. It went viral all around the world, and it led to an appearance on The Ellen Show. Ellen gave me a monetary gift, and that became the seed money to start our foundation. And now we're really committed to shining a light on Asian experiences through advocacy and celebration. And as a result of our work, I've learned a lot about the needs of our youth, mental health disparities, and opportunities to tell stories about Asian Americans that haven't really been told. We are more diverse than ever, and our stories deserve to be told within the Asian diaspora. For example, I'm a Korean adoptee, but because of my age, I came here as an immigrant, and I am a naturalized citizen. I have known my Korean family for more than half my life now and have traveled back and forth to Korea. I even helped one of my sisters immigrate to the United States. And now as a mom raising a multiracial son, I find that it can still be difficult to find stories that represent us, even though we've got more choices than ever before. So it shows me that we still have more stories to tell. Now, as you go through today's conference and continue on in your own personal journey, one thing I would ask all of you is to find ways that you can make actionable change in your schools and communities. We launched the May Book Project this year to help solve a problem for Asian American students who felt ignored in their schools when they asked for more Asian American literature during the month of May, our Heritage Month. We convened a group of scholars, librarians, authors, educators, and nonprofits to create a vetted, high-quality, free list of books from picture books to adult crossover to give libraries more resources to buy Asian American literature. And we've also been raising money to get books to at-need libraries at no cost to them. So we want to make sure that youth are seen, and we'd love your help being an ambassador to get more books in your library. So please email me. I'd also like to offer you a piece of advice that no matter who raised you, where you grew up, what you look like, you are a full person who deserves to bring your full humanity to spaces. You do not have to be apologetic for being your authentic self, and you do not ever have to make yourself small. We are here to build confidence and to build community. We need each other and we need allies. And to us, being very Asian really just means being you. So thank you so much for having me today, and I want to wish you a great Changemakers Summit 2022.
And we're also going to hear from Bianca Mabute-Louis, who is a scholar, activist, educator, and consultant. Bianca is currently completing her PhD in sociology at Rice University, and her research centers Asian Americans in the national discourse on race, religion, and politics. As the daughter of Chinese immigrants, she is dedicated to helping Asian Americans embrace their racial ethnic identities, understand their place in racial politics, and hold their stake in racial justice movements. We can find her on social media as @BeyondKZ, where we can follow her wisdom, humor, and news about her upcoming book.
Let's hear from our keynote speakers.
Hi everyone, my name is Bianca Mabute-Louis, and I'm a researcher, educator, and writer. And I'm so excited to join you all today to talk about what it means to be a change maker. So a little bit about my background. I'm originally from California, 626 San Gabriel Valley area, and then lived in Oakland for over 10 years. During my time in the Bay Area, I served Asian American communities as a youth organizer, a faith-based organizer, and eventually as an educator, teaching Asian American studies at high school and undergraduate levels. My career trajectory was actually very nonlinear. I had a lot of different jobs, but through all my different roles, a core question that motivated me was, what does it look like for us as Asian Americans to own and embrace our racial and ethnic identities, to understand our place in racial politics, which is so often reduced to just black and white, and to ultimately hold our stake in racial justice movements. I had the privilege of holding and facilitating brave spaces for Asian Americans to unpack their experiences of racial trauma and to learn their histories of both resistance and exclusion in this country. Today, I'm not in California anymore. I've actually since relocated to Texas. I'm getting my PhD in sociology at Rice University, and I'm working on my first book manuscript titled Unassimilable. I'm also, on top of writing in graduate school, working with local and statewide activists to advocate for Asian American studies and inclusive K-12 social studies curriculum in the state of Texas. In all of my years serving our community, thinking, writing, dialoguing about Asian American issues, a central question I want to leave you all with today is, what kind of collective belonging and power do we as Asian Americans want to create in this particular historic moment in 2022? Over the last few years, I've seen mainstream dialogue on Asian American issues increase a lot, with a lot of conversations on things like Asian American media representation and anti-Asian hate crimes. And all of these conversations are so important. And I hear a lot of rhetoric like, we belong here too. right? We as Asian Americans deserve inclusion because we're also from here and we're American and we helped build this country too. And all of these statements and conversations are true and important because I am from here and we do deserve to feel a sense of belonging here. But my work and my question for all of us is, what if sometimes I don't want to belong here? Because when I learn and read about American history, I understand that this country was built on genocide, enslavement, and exclusion and exploitation. I understand that this country only seems to want Asian American bodies and labor when it's profitable and convenient for them. So instead of proving our belonging here, proving that we're from here, what would it look like to build our own belonging? In early Asian American history, the term unassimilable was weaponized to exclude Asian immigrants because we were presumed to be too heathen and backwards and unable to assimilate into the white Protestant mainstream. And this explanation was used to justify violence and exclusionary policies against Asian communities and immigrants. So what I want to know in 2022 is, what would it look like for us to actually reclaim this concept of unassimilable as a politic of refusal? In being unassimilable, what would it look like for us to say we refuse to belong to this country that is full of contradictions and guilty of theft and murder and racial violence? And as we refuse to assimilate into the violence of whiteness and Americanness, I instead ask, what would it look like for us to build our own sense of Asian American identity, belonging, power, and community outside of the terms, confines, and institutions of white supremacy? As you go through today's conference and go on in your own personal journeys, I want you all to think about, again, this question of what kind of collective belonging and power do we want to build as Asian Americans in this particular historic moment? Do we just want to succeed and again prove our belonging to this thing called America, or do we want to create something entirely new and different together? In many ways, we as Asian Americans need new language, new words to capture the diversity of what it means to be Asian in this country in 2022. And I wholeheartedly believe that you all are the folks to lead the way. So I encourage you all to lean into the things that inspire you, that move you, that maybe make you sad or make you mad. And I invite you all to use your art, your leadership, your writing, your talents to capture and name what you're feeling, to give language and words to the convictions and stories that move you today and in the world. We as Asian Americans are diverse, and in particular, you all represent a constellation of gifts, strengths, and leadership that the world is eagerly waiting for. So thank you so much for participating in this year's Changemakers Summit. Thank you for having me, and I can't wait to see what you all go on to do after this. And also, don't be a stranger. I'm Beyonce on social media platforms. Feel free to reach out if there's any way I can support you all in your journeys moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our keynote speakers. It was incredible to hear your stories and to really get a glimpse into what being a change maker means to each and every one of you.
Today's conference is all about developing the next generation of AAPI leadership. And I don't know about you, but I can't imagine what it would have been like to grow up and be in high school or in college and be with these people who are just making a difference.
It is so cool. Like, if I was in high school and I saw Michelle Lee on Instagram posting a racist rant hurled her way, I would probably be able to stand up to bullies so much better.
And feel so much more empowered, too.
Yes. And that's why this conference is so important, this summit. And we wanted to give a special shout out to all our sponsors today, especially our silver level sponsors, Character Media and Sephora, for making today really possible. Because of their generous support, today is absolutely free, which we love. So special thank you to them. And we're going to keep things going here because right now is one of the most exciting parts of the day. Just like a regular in-person conference, we're going to break out into our breakout sessions, the first of 3 today. And this is really cool because they are broken up into 3 categories.
And remember, all of our breakouts are separated into 3 tracks. Who Are We?, which is mostly about identity development and what it means to be AAPI. What Impacts Us?, which is about the systemic challenges that we face, and How Do We Make a Change?, which is about building tangible and tactical leadership skills as change makers. We encourage you to pick a session that best fits you and what you want to learn today. Have fun, and we'll see you guys very soon. Welcome back, everyone. How were your first breakout sessions? How are you feeling? Let us know in the chat.
Cannot wait to read your comments. And before we get to our second set of breakout sessions, we know that you guys have been hearing from some amazing speakers and facilitators, but there are 3 organizations that you guys haven't heard of yet or heard from today who have put all of this together for you.
Yes, and they are Hate is a Virus, Act to Change, and Stop AAPI Hate.
The people behind these organizations are truly phenomenal and they are doing so much great work. So we encourage you to follow all of them and stay tuned because you are going to want to hear what these folks have to say.
Hey everyone, I'm Michelle. And I'm Tammy. We're the co-founders of Hate is a Virus, a nonprofit community of AAPI mobilizers and amplifiers to dismantle racism and hate. Over the past year, through the generous support of our community, we were able to raise over $1 million to bolster the work of various grassroots organizations across the U.S., building resources for AAPI women, mental health, community safety, and much more. We believe in the power of our people to unite during difficult times, educate one another about our shared experiences and current realities, and keep moving forward together. Whether having conversations with family and friends, learning more about current issues, or just showing up to vote, it's only together that we can create meaningful and sustained change. We're so excited to continue to uplift and celebrate with our community, our strength, our dignity, and joy, not just during Heritage Month, but every month of the year.
Hi, I'm Malik Pancholi, and I'm the chair and a co-founder here at Act to Change. Act to Change was originally formed as a White House campaign under the Obama administration. But now we are a national nonprofit working to end bullying for Asian American and Pacific Islander youth across the country. We know that you can't end bullying for one group of kids without ending bullying for all kids. So we build coalitions with diverse orgs across many communities. We eradicate hate through our robust programming, which includes programs like our Youth Ambassador Program, our Homeroom with Tan France in-school visit programs, and our virtual classroom convo series. We work to support policies that make schools safer. We design curriculums that are inclusive of our diverse histories, and we gather data so that we can truly understand the needs of our youth and tackle issues head-on. We are also focused on destigmatizing the need for and increasing access to mental health support. We have 2 major tentpole event days that I'm incredibly proud of. Our National AAPI Day Against Bullying and Hate, which happens each May 18th on the birthday of Vincent Chin. This day receives the backing of cities and states across the country, elected officials, and influencers and role models across many industries. It's an incredibly valuable day to increase awareness and raise our collective voice against hate. And then, of course, we have our annual Youth Changemakers Summit each October, which offers young people a platform to connect and inspire each other. When we all come together in this way, it affirms that we really can build a world where every young person can not only feel safe, but can celebrate their unique identities. And sadly, it feels like this is more important now than it has ever been before. See, when Act to Change was first born, data showed that in some parts of the country, Asian American youth were being bullied at twice the national average. Sadly, those numbers have risen due to the increased racism fueled by the pandemic. Our 2021 Asian American Bullying Survey found that 80% of Asian American youth now report experiencing bullying. So, we hope that you'll become part of our movement. You can visit us at act2change.org. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at @act2change. Please come join us. Together, we can end bullying and hate.
Hello, Changemakers community. My name is Isa Villarosa. I use the she, her series of pronouns, and I am the Stop AAPI Hate Director of Youth Organizing and Programs. I'm so excited to be with y'all today, and I hope your conference is going excellently. In the breakout rooms and sessions, you may run into some of my colleagues and the fall 2022 Stop API Hate Youth Campaign interns. More about that later. Let me take us through a brief introduction of the Stop API Hate Youth Campaign, and really this dynamic cohort of young people mobilizing across the country in support of ethnic studies. But first, recognitions. I'm coming to y'all from the land of the Ramaytush Ohlone in the Bay Area. You may as well, if you want to find out more and learn more about the land you are on, please visit native-land.ca. At the heart of our coalition, we are intersectional, and that is honoring race, gender, sexuality, and the myriad identities in our coalition and the work of justice that we do. So who are we? As you might know, Stop API Hate was founded in 2020. Xenophobia and racial violence and isolation were not born during the COVID-19 pandemic, but certainly they were magnified. And we are growing, y'all. We started off as a coalition, laser focused on bringing light and a microphone to racial violence, to xenophobia, displayed through our policies, displayed through the carceral state. But how do we do that? We do that in a number of ways, all around advocacy. And as you all know, advocacy can take a number of definitions. This might mean working through legislative streams. This might mean direct service and community building. What are we advocating for? There are three key priorities in the Stop API Hate ecosystem: civil rights, community safety, and transformation, i.e., whose safety are we prioritizing? Whose safety does the government prioritize? And how can we move away from carceral solutions, from the carceral state? And finally, we are about educational equity, making sure that young folks can get what they need to thrive. And how do we do those key priority areas? We move through a combination of data and research, through policy and advocacy, capacity and movement building, and my favorite, narrative change, which really takes a deep look at the stories we tell ourselves and the stories we tell through our policies and our laws. I want to conclude with a shout out to the youth campaign and to Christy Shen, who is our youth campaign program manager. The youth campaign, along with Stop API Hate, was founded in 2020, and we're bringing young people all across the country together at this time remotely to really give voice to why we need ethnic studies in our schools. To date, we've had some successful policy campaigns, some wins across states and cities, protecting ethnic studies. And now it's about bringing that success across the country and also making sure that these policies protecting ethnic studies are implemented in their fullest form. I'm about to join some sessions at Changemakers myself. But if you have a moment today, please visit us at stopaapihate.org. You'll learn more about our work, including the youth campaign. And we are always looking for new teammates, new rabble rousers to do the damn thing with. A big thank you to the Changemakers crew and to the youth interns and Christy Shen for this coalition. I'll catch you all later. Bye-bye.
Please give it up in the chat for Hate is a Virus, Stop AAPI Hate, and Act to Change for working so hard in putting this entire conference together. It is not easy to schedule sessions and speakers and figure out the whole Zoom situation and fundraise to make this free for all of us. Nonprofit organizations and their volunteers and staff members are driving so much positive change in the AAPI community. So we got to give them all of our support.
Oh yes, let's give them all their flowers, give them some hearts in the chat, because these folks definitely deserve it. That is for sure. So before we move on to our next breakout session, I do want to remind you to check out all the different tracks that we have to offer. So you can either stay in the track that you are in now, or maybe try something new. You never know. It really depends on where you are in your activist journey and also what you hope to learn today.
Yes, so go have some fun, but make sure you come back because we have some special musical performances.
It's not me, don't worry.
Or is it? And then we're going to have a short lunch break. See you later.